Hi, nerds! I miss you guys so much. I wanted to pop in today and give a little video just so that you could see my face, and so also that I could walk through some particulars of the class, where we're headed, what's going on, and give a little bit of guidance and some reminders. So you should see this already. This is the schedule you should be rolling with right now. It's a new block schedule. So the idea is that, you're focused on only a few classes a day. You have periods 1 through 3 Mondays and Thursdays, and periods 4 through 7 on Tuesdays and Fridays. Wednesday is sort of meant to be an opportunity for you to catch up on work, dig into work, have Zoom calls with teachers, get questions answered, do small group check-ins and interventions and extensions. So make sure Wednesdays aren't just like a day you're doing nothing, because it's meant to keep you, to give you the space and time to get all the work done. When we started this whole thing, it was a lot at first, and teachers were giving you assignments every single day, and I think that was a little heavy for kids. So this is meant to sort of give you and your teachers that space to do this all well. For those of you who haven't been engaging in the class yet, I will be reaching out this week to check in and see what supports I can give you so you can continue learning. Additionally, we'll start doing Zoom calls next week. When we do that, they will exist in the hour that I would have you, right? So if you're in period 3, then your Zoom call would happen on either a Monday or a Thursday, somewhere between 12 and 1:30. This will always be posted on Classroom with the code and the time so that you know what time to log on and how to do it. If you haven't been into Zoom yet, it's pretty easy. It's very user-friendly. When you click on the link that I provide you, it'll take you to Zoom. If you don't have an account, you'll create one with your Google account, and then once you do that, it's easy, you're in, okay? So a few reminders here, right? If you're not engaging in the class, that's your attendance. That's how we're showing your work, your seat time, right? Your ability to get this stuff done. And we want you to keep progressing through your junior year so that you don't get behind. So it's important that you take this seriously and that you try to do your best. If you're behind on work right now, like Monday, your Global Issues Matrix and your recorded Practice IA was due. If you haven't done that yet, I will still accept it. Just get it into me, because these things are going to build to get to where we need to go. And so where are we going? We are headed into doing your final IA. We're going to do that, okay? I know that sounds scary, and I know it's probably like, oh my God, seriously? She's going to have us do this IB assessment. But I actually think this is going to be a good thing. Trust me, this is going to be good. I'm actually really excited about it. Number 1, the IA is probably the easiest of the 4 assessments. So for us to do it this year will give us space and time next year to focus on the written ones, which are going to be the more difficult ones for you. Additionally, college is a lot like online learning. In a lot of ways, you might go to a big lecture, but your professors will post a bunch of assignments online. You'll get a timeline or a calendar or a schedule, and you'll have to get things done sort of on your own and advocate for yourself and communicate when you're stuck. So this will be really good practice for real life, and I think it will give you some skills and experience that will take you a little bit further in the future. Next week, I will give you a bit more of a breakdown about how this IA will look and how it will go. For general knowledge right now, most likely it will be done online, because I doubt we will return to school this year. Secondly, it will be still designated at a specific time. We'll do it on Zoom together. This will happen at the end of May. So it will be the last thing we do before you finish the year. So in preparation for that, we will engage in Socratic seminars. We tried that online Google Socratic, and it didn't quite work the way that I intended it to work. There were some people who were able to do it right. They gave their response, and then they could see everybody else's responses, and they responded to those, like Kenny. Shout out to Kenny for doing it and figuring that out. Kenny, I emailed you. I was hoping to have a better answer for everybody, but for the sake of that, just get your response in. If you can't respond to other people's, because you can't see their comments for whatever reason, don't worry about it. Just get your response in at least, and I'll find a way to get all of those responses shared to you so that you can see them. To prep for our IA, we have 2 more authors to get to, so that you'll have a total of 6 to choose from for your IA. This is going to be Junio Diaz. He's a short story writer and a novelist from the Dominican Republic. And I think you're going to resonate with his experience. He talks a lot about like growing up in America as an immigrant, and then also particularly even within our own culture, right? We tend to discriminate and stereotype each other. So he plays a lot with those ideas. We'll also read Pablo Neruda. He is a poet and he has won the Nobel Prize. He's from Chile. He was a politician and a diplomat. And so his poetry kind of runs the gamut. He does like really simple, nice, cute poems about things he appreciates that are small. Like he has Ode to Socks, and he has a whole poem about why socks are great. And then he has some interesting love poems, but then he goes into some deep poems about society and the sort of complex dynamics between humans within different cultures. You need to keep up with that IB portfolio. This will still be a massive part of your work, right? This is your demonstration of knowledge, right? So there's 3 things to consider for your IB portfolio. Number 1, you should have your IB Lit notebook that we started in class. If you don't have that and it's at school or something, I would maybe try to get it on one of the Chrome pickup days, and we can talk about what that looks like personally if you're in that issue, or start a new one. You should also have a digital folder on your drive where your digital tasks for IB Lit live. And then thirdly, remember that this portfolio, yes, is graded and will be graded, but it's really more of a resource for you as you're prepping for your assessments for next year. You will end up using some books for this year for next year, and you want to make sure you have a good resource of that information. Lastly, so I guess there's a 4th reason, this IB portfolio could be used as your graduation requirement. If you don't reach that SAT score, which you guys aren't taking right now, but you will end up taking, then you have the option to do a senior capstone, and your IB portfolio can turn into that capstone, and a good chunk of that work is done. So make sure it's staying organized, you're keeping up on it, you have all of your work in one solid place that we can reference. We will complete a few practice IAs over the coming weeks to prepare you for the big one. I'm setting these up in a way that you will maybe do different topics to kind of feel some different things out, but ultimately you could essentially use one of those practice as your final, and you revise it and you finalize it, you polish it, you make it solid, and you end up doing that one. So these will be done on Zoom or on recordings as well, so be ready for that. And then last but not least, a part of your IB requirements are that you do some creative compositions and reflections, and that has to be in your portfolio as well. So we'll do another little poem pastiche when we read Neruda. We're going to do a little characterization activity when we read Diaz, and you will also do some reflections not only of IB and your learning here through these texts, but also some reflections on this experience overall, right? Like, this is a crazy time we're living in. And realistically, you living through a pandemic is something that's going to be a massive part of our history. People are going to be studying this and talking about this for years to come. It's going to have an impact on our whole society, even after, it has sort of gone away. So with that, I think it's important that you're reflecting on how this experience is going for you, how you're adapting, how you're reacting, how you might want to change the way you're doing those things. I think that this could help you grow up a little bit. And I know it's tough, but all the good things in life are tough, right? All the things that are worth it are a challenge. So looking forward, looking ahead, we've talked about the schedule and the plans, the IAs. Again, you'll get way more information on IAs later. I don't want to weigh you down with that today. We will be using Zoom starting next week. On Monday, we're going to do a big class Zoom call together. So I would love it if everybody was on that. If you are period 1 through 3, that will happen on Monday at the hour that you would normally have me. If you are in period 4, that will happen on Tuesday. All of that will be sent out with the slides on Monday. So just know, hey, you're going to have to jump on a Zoom call for your IB Lit hour on one of those days next week. What else? Okay, and then the classroom discussion. If you haven't done that, do it. Again, you do not have to do the responding to others if you can't see other people's comments. I don't expect you to. But one way you could answer this question is in the comment feed under the post. You could put your response, and then other people can see you and comment. Just make sure if you're commenting on someone else's response, you say their name so that we know we can reference what comment you are responding to. All right, so today, a couple quick reminders here to stay up on your classwork. You want to pass junior year. You don't want to get behind. I will ensure that you got what you need to do that for IB Lit, but you've got to do your part, meet me halfway, and get the work done. All right? Remember to take deep breaths. Like, this can be challenging. Not only are you stuck at home, but maybe you're stuck at home with family members that you don't necessarily love. Maybe you are alone and, isolated. Maybe you're confused or frustrated watching brothers and sisters working. There's a million things that could be going on for you. So remember the importance of breath. Sometimes when I'm working, I just step outside for 5 minutes and I sit down in the chair and I close my eyes and I just listen to the trees and the birds and I breathe. And it helps. It helps me feel better. So find something that helps you calm or meditate or get back in your body space so that you can be a better functioning human. Okay? And most importantly, guys, ask for help. If you are stuck or confused, do not be embarrassed to ask. This is new for everybody. I do not expect you to fully understand how to do all this. I am on my email every Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. I check it every hour. So if I'm on another call, I'm doing something with someone else, I'm in a meeting, I will always come back and check my email within the hour. So don't be afraid to reach out. Please, please ask for help. That's a big part of this process. You watched this video from me. Thank you very much. It was very nice to sort of see you. And now after you're done with the video, you'll click on this link here to answer some just check-in questions for me, give you an opportunity to ask some general questions that might impact not just you, but the whole group. I will make sure that there is a way for everybody to see those questions and answers so that we can all get the same information, okay? If you haven't done this Mindful Lemonade, that's your Mindful today. If you have done it, go in there, check out, see what other people are doing. You need to think of something sweet that brings you joy in these sort of sour times. And take a picture of it. You could be in the picture or not, your choice. And then you will place that into this Google slide document here with your name and a short phrase describing what this thing is, okay? After you've done that and the form today, you're going to listen to this video with Junio Diaz. It's an interview between our next author and I think it's NPR. It's about an hour long, but really I just, watch the first 20 minutes. That's the big thing that we're going to be talking about on Monday. But I think you should watch the whole thing because Junio Diaz is brilliant and he's kind of feisty. Like, you're going to see that in him. And he is an amazing linguist. He's beautiful with words. And you'll learn more about his life. So I think it's important to understand that aspect in order to understand his work. So I'd watch the whole thing. Regardless of how much you watch, you need to take notes in either your IB Lit notebook, or you can do this in a Google Doc and save it in your IB Lit folder. Either one. Your notes will serve as your understanding. On Monday, when we do our Zoom call, we'll talk about this video a little bit together, and then we'll start reading Diaz. So come prepared on Monday to do that. In fact, maybe on Monday before we have our Zoom call, maybe watch the first 20 minutes again, go through the highlights so that you've got some ideas and things you can share within our class conversation. Just as a reminder, you've got a few things due if you haven't done them. The Global Issues Matrix and the Recorded IA were due on Monday. So if you haven't done that yet, start there. Get that done. That's important. I will be providing whole class feedback and sometimes individual feedback in various forms when I feel like it's needed. This week's focus is the answering of the Sailor question to the classroom discussion, and then watching this Diaz interview and doing notes. On next week on Monday, we'll dig into Diaz. We'll talk about that video. On our next Socratic seminar, it will be a comparative seminar, meaning we will be comparing the two texts that we're going to read next, but also the other ones. So if you still feel like you want to talk about Sailor some more, because we really haven't had a chance to dig in to those concepts, we will still have those opportunities. So don't worry, that is coming. Aside from that, it's important that you get some rest and you get some me time, and you find ways to relax and be peaceful. And I hope that during these times you're taking moments to appreciate the small things. And I think that this whole thing's going to be really hard on our society, and it's going to impact us in massive ways. But I think that there is some good, right, that can come out of something. There's always beauty in pain. So maybe, just maybe, as a society, we can maybe connect more, appreciate those around us and what we have a little bit more, because truly we are very lucky. Regardless of this, it could be so much worse. So really take a moment to find that appreciation and gratitude every week. I think that's all I have to say. I kept it under 15 minutes. That was my goal. I miss you terribly. Like, I can't even, office job is not my thing. I just want to be in a classroom with you. So just know that I'm there in spirit. I'm thinking about you, and I hope that you're all hanging in there. And I'll see you on Monday, or for fourth period on Tuesday for our next Zoom call. Last thing I forgot to mention, technically you don't have school tomorrow. Friday was originally supposed to be a no student contact day, and they're not going to change that up on you. So fourth period, if you want to go ahead and do this work now, great. If not, just head into it next week. But technically you are off of school on Friday. So enjoy that day if you can. Try to do something fun, something that makes you smile. Sending you tons of smiles and good energy. I hope you're doing all right, and we'll talk soon.